Go to Facebook, APC Morgan Park. Do you got your phone, your other device? Yeah. There we go. Share and share and share and share. That's how it goes. We're a little late, but we here. Don't worry about it. We're a little late, but we here. 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 Can you see me over there? Is it live over there? Okay, good. All right. I think we live. We everywhere. APC everywhere. We hybrid forever. And we're back. I see you, baby sister. There you go. Come on. There you go, Sister Mary. Johnson, we good? Give me a thumbs up, Johnson. Elder Johnson. Johnson, we good? I think we good. I think we good everywhere. Everybody can hear me? Sister Dana, God bless you, Sister Dana. There you go. Come on, come on. Come on, Ashley, we ready. We ready to go. Hey! All right, ladies, I need y'all to take it up right here. Say it. Good. I got the victorious people with me here tonight. We're not going to be bound by technology on tonight. How about that? We here now. We here now. Somebody just texted me and said I was looking for TNT tonight. We here now. Come on. Come on. There we go. I see you, Elder Wilson. I see you, Elder Wilson. All the victorious people here. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on Zoom. That's what I'm talking about. Better late than never, but this is going to be amazing tonight. We got some help for God's people. We got some help for all people. We got some help for our people. That's it. I was just giving a couple of minutes. All right, here we go. Everybody's coming in. Everybody's here now. I thank God for my Zoom Church APC family. I thank God for y'all. You all were already there. You all were where we needed to be. I see you, Meemaw's here. Sister Bacon, God bless you. Good to see everybody. I'm not going to tarry. I'm not going to delay. We had a Holy Healthy Takeover this past Sunday. And tonight, Holy Healthy is back tonight with another takeover. I'm glad, I'm honored to be able to bring to us on tonight an amazing young lady who's going to be sharing with us information that is needed for the kingdom, information that is needed for our communities. You all know me. You all know me by now. You know what I advocate. I advocate for us being holy, not just holy, Holy, sanctified, but holy as in completely, ministering to the whole human being is the Holy Healthy ministry. And so with all that's going on in the world, I'm so glad to have a young woman, a young Black woman of God who comes to us from Blue Door, the Blue Door Center, the Blue Door Neighborhood Center. Her name is Miss Ashley Lewis. I'm gonna bring her right on in here. Ashley, how you doing tonight, Ashley? We're gonna start right on in here. How you feeling?
I
Are you
am loving
feeling
the
victorious,
spirit.
Ashley?
Yes, I'm loving all of this.
Good, good, good. It's so good to have you. Listen, Miss Ashley, I'm going to get out the way, but she is going to be coming and talking about tonight's topic is bridges of hope. I was blessed to be able to share with Blue Door, and the Bible talks about a door of hope in the valley of Achor. And God has blessed in the Morgan Park neighborhood and community for there to be a blue door of hope and help that we've partnered with as a church, we've partnered with as a community. She's going to be coming to us now and presenting to us about mental health awareness and how we can not only be aware of what's going on within ourselves, but be aware and what's going on with the individuals in the community that we serve with, the people that we are connected to, that we are surrounded with. I'm going to get out the way, but I don't know if she's going to talk about this, but she's going to help us to be able to recognize that if you get up and slap somebody in the middle of an award show, you just might be having a mental health crisis. She may not talk about that, but I'll talk about that later because everybody's talking about it. It's being talked about. But we want to be able to talk about tonight how we can recognize when help is needed, and not only recognize when help is needed, but where we can go and get help. Ladies and gentlemen, I want y'all to type in the comments, welcome Ashley. Welcome Ashley.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I am super, super excited to be here with you to share some information about mental health, the Blue Neighborhood Center, and how we partner with our communities to bring awareness. I'm having a little feedback, so excuse me for my technical difficulties. But however, welcome, and I bring you greetings from the Blue Neighborhood Center. Again, my name is Ashley. I serve as one of the health educators there at the Morgan Park location. If you're not familiar with the Blue Door Neighborhood Center, we are Blue Cross and Blue Shield's first ever community-based center. And our goal is to make a positive impact within our communities. Also, the Blue Door Neighborhood Center is a center that provides high-touch, face-to-face engagement through prevention education, health and wellness programs, community resources awareness, and the use of no-cost meeting spaces to nonprofit organizations along with our vision. You may be wondering, how do we do that? Well, we do that through a wealth of ways. One of the ways being providing health education and wellness classes to the community for free. So things like nutrition, ways to cope with stress, mindful breathing, deep breathing, meditation, low impact fitness classes like Zumba, yoga, line dances, things around job readiness and financial literacy. And again, having a space for 501c3s to come and meet, and if it aligns with our vision. So we're super blessed to have 3 locations open. Our Pullman location of 111, Morgan Park, where I serve as a health educator again, at 119th, and our South Lawndale location off Western Cermak. Our centers focus on the 6 core areas of public health and health, which is nutrition, diabetes, asthma, heart disease, behavioral health, and parent and child wellness. So going into the behavioral health component of what we're going to be talking about tonight is Bridges of Hope. And I don't want us to get caught up on the title of NAMI and Bridges of Hope, but I think the biggest piece is to remember that I'm going to be presenting information around mental health, what that is, and how we can make a positive impact within our communities. All right, Mr. Pino, thank you. Keep going, keep going. And so another way that we try to make a positive impact within our communities is partnering with organizations like NAMI, which is the National Alliance of National Alliance of Mental Illness. And so, again, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak to you about Bridges of Hope, faith communities, and what we can do as faith-based communities to address mental health within our communities. Tonight, we're going to examine mental illness, also referred to and known as mental health conditions, and then 2 strong bridges that we can have to help many people and families navigate their experiences living with these conditions. Pastor Bill, can you go up just a couple more slides? Other way. Let's see. So, Pastor Bill, quick question. My slides are running away from me. Okay. So we can go to the one that says, what is mental health? Okay, so during our time together, we're going to explore some 3 core areas of the presentation. So one is addressing what is mental health. The second is being why are faith and spirituality important to the people affected by mental health conditions and how we can help. I will be sure to pause regularly just to make sure if you don't have any questions, but since we're a little short on time, I hope we can just tailor some of the questions to the end. And so jumping right into the slide that you're seeing. So what is mental health? Mental health conditions are medical conditions, health conditions that can disrupt a person's thinking, mood, ability to relate to others and patterns and to perform their daily functions. Just as diabetes is a disorder of the pancreas, mental illness affects the brain and can diminish the capacity with coping with the ordinary demands of life. Serious mental health conditions include something like major depression, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder. Those are some of the common ones. And they affect any person at any age. Mental health does not discriminate. It doesn't matter what age, race, religion, or income you have. Mental health affects everyone. They are not also a result of a person's weakness, lack of character, or poor upbringings. Next slide, please. So, what factors contribute to someone developing a mental health condition? Well, genetics, environment, and lifestyle all play a role in mental illness. It's a holistic approach. We are impacting our lives holistically. Unfortunately, the cause of mental illness is not an exact science, and people haven't pinpointed a direct cause. However, the causes of mental illness are very many, and there is still much to be learned about them. What we do know is that they are common and can be serious. And again, I want to mention that mental illness is not because you lack something, because you're an incompetent person or your poor upbringings, but definitely genetics and a play on our environment and lifestyle. So just to look at some statistics around mental health and how really important and really a role it plays within our communities. If you pay attention to this slide, you'll see some statistics around some of the common mental health disorders and the percentages and how it's broken down. So 1 in 5 people live with a mental health condition, and that's 1 in 25 lives with a serious mental illness. So I'm pretty sure everyone on the call today have noticed or seen or heard of some of these disorders that's on their screen, like depression, schizophrenia, bipolar, OCD, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and anxiety. So just taking a look at some of these mental illnesses and mental health conditions in a deeper context. And mental illness is a condition that affects a person's thinking, how they feel, and their mood. Such conditions may affect someone's ability to relate to others and function each day. Each person will have different experiences, and even people with the same diagnosis. And one thing that's really important to remember too is culture and race play a part in how these disorders manifest as well. So I think that's really important to mention. So if we're looking at depression and anxiety are among the most common mental health conditions. And if you take a deeper look at depression is more than just a feeling of sadness or going through a rough patch in our lives. It's a serious mental health condition that requires understanding, treatment, and a good recovery plan. I know sometimes within our community, the church community, most people say, just pray it away. God to take it away. That is very true. However, God gives us tools and God gives us resources also to help with the things that we're going through. With early detection, diagnosis, and treatment planning, consistent medication, therapy, whether it's pastoral counseling or seeing a mental health professional, and lifestyle choices, many people can get better. But left untreated and just ignored or shamed, depression can be devastating, both for the people who have it and their families as well. Some people have only one episode in their lifetime, but for most people, depression occurs over time and has more than one episode. So when I say episode, it can manifest in different situations in our life. So using Will Smith as an example, he may be struggling through depression and he may be going through bouts of depression episodes now, right? So that could be an example of him being at the Oscars and having this mental health concern going on and lashing out on other people. And so again, it does not just affect us, but other people around us as well. Without treatment, episodes may last a few months or several years. People with severe depression can feel so hopeless that they may feel like they want to commit suicide or take their own life or do risky behaviors to end their lives. Looking at another common disorder on the screen is bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder is a chronic mental illness that causes dramatic shifts in a person's mood, their energy, and ability to think clearly. People with bipolar have high and low moods, known as mania and depression. So mania being really hyper, really energetic, really on track, really focused on all out tasks, really hyper. And then it can go to depressive mode. So sadness, low mood, not wanting to get out of bed, things like that. And basically the mania and depression really just shows you the typical ups and downs that most people may experience. Another common figure within the society, even Chicago, you may know, is Kanye West. Kanye West has a diagnosis of bipolar. So if you want to have an example or see something realistically, how it can manifest, that's an example as well. However, with a strong lifestyle that includes self-management and a good treatment plan, many people live well with the condition of mental health condition of bipolar disorder. And just to mention another one that's really common within our population in our society is schizophrenia. And schizophrenia is a serious mental illness that interferes with a person's ability to think clearly, manage their emotions, make decisions, and relate to others. It is a complex, long-term medical illness affecting about 1% of Americans. Although schizophrenia can occur at any age, the average age of most trends can be in the late teens, the early 20s in men, and late 20s and early 30s for women. However, although schizophrenia is one of the most severe-ish on the spectrum, it is possible to live with schizophrenia and have a whole and well life with proper treatment and support. If you wanted to learn more about some of these conditions that's on the screen and mental health illnesses, like depression and schizophrenia, bipolar, all those things, you can visit NAMI, NAMI.org, to get more information about what these are and to seek help as well. One of the things I wanted to break down is the stigma around mental health. And we often think that if we have a mental health disorder or condition or a concern, that it's a life sentence. And sometimes all we have to do is just see people for who they are and direct them in the right way to get help. So the most important things to remember about mental illness and mental health is they are common. We all have them. It doesn't discriminate, doesn't matter what age, sex, religion, race. Treatment and support are essential for promising recovery. And people affected by mental health conditions and their families need help and hope. Again, mental illness and mental health doesn't only affect just a person, but it affects everyone around us. Next slide, please. So this slide presents a short way of how to communicate with people who may be struggling with a mental health concern or disorder. And so one of the easiest things that we can do to help people who may be struggling is to be really mindful of our language and how we talk to ourselves and how we talk to others about their struggles. So if you look at the two cartoons on the screen, and then if you're calling in, I'll try to explain it as well. But the picture depicts a young man laying in bed and their mother or sibling reaching out to them to say, hey, I get that you're not feeling well and all, but can't you just at least make an effort? And so if you take a minute to think, how often have you found yourself, or have you ever found yourself saying this to someone who may be sad or be going through a depressed stage in their life? And so on the other side, you'll see the father figure or someone else in their family saying, well, if you're just sitting around all day, obviously you're not going to help you feel better. Get up and do something, move around. And so this really depicts to show that mental health is just not a turn on or turn off switch. It's just not easy to snap out of it. And this case, it seems like this young man is dealing with depression. And this really shows you how depression can really be challenging and how we can't just shake out of depression. Sometimes we need extra help and support. So just like we have asthma, just like we have heart disease and cancer, mental health can occur in the same manner. And so it is important to really notice, again, how we speak to someone recovering or struggling with mental health challenges, even in the church, even in our families, even in public spaces. This is another example of how it's important to be mindful of how we speak to other people as well. And how we relate to others and the health struggles with mental illness is important. We can be more compassionate and understanding and take those first steps to pause and really consider before we speak or pass judgments. If we see someone laying around, maybe it's a teen, maybe it's an adult, maybe it may be Sister Jones, who's usually happy, coming to church on Sundays, and she's, usually upbeat, but one day she's just having really low affects, sadness, tears, crying, really need that extra support, come to the altar, need extra prayer. Those are kind of indicators that people may be struggling with mental health disorder or condition that they may need support with. Next slide, please. So symptoms, this is super important. So you may be wondering, well, how do I notice if someone's having depression, or how do I know if someone's dealing with anxiety or schizophrenia or something like that? So the symptoms vary, right? But this is a partial list. And if you need more, if you would like to know more, of course, visit NAMI. However, some of these symptoms here on the slide, there's excessive worry and fear, feeling sad and very low, confused thinking or problems concentrating and learning, substance abuse, changes in your sleep and eating patterns, you're more fatigued, you don't want to get out of bed, or you want to eat more or eat less. Maybe contemplating even ending your life, maybe thinking, hey, this is so low for me. Life would be better if I just wasn't here, or I'll not be a burden to my family because I'm feeling this way if I just let it all go away. I imagine that we can agree that everyone experiences a broad range of sadness and happiness, sorrow, grief at all points of our life. So if you want to take a minute to just look at the screen and kind of just look at some of the symptoms and see if you can identify with some of them. And I'll take about 10 seconds for you to get, a good look at the list and just to really take it and say, oh yeah, I did have that. Oh yeah, I was dealing with this. So again, how do we know when we or someone we know may be experiencing a mental health condition or concern that they may need an intervention or treatment for? And again, this list can be an indicator. This list is not inclusive. With each mental health disorder concern, the symptoms change. And it's really important to consult with a professional before diagnosing anyone. And the only person who can diagnose is a professional. But however, it's really important to know the red flags to look for and watch for. And it's important to learn more about the warning signs of what a mental health disorder is and what it may look like, just in case you may have to support a loved one or a church member, or someone within your circle. Next slide, please. So with that being said, I want to instill the piece of there is hope. Again, mental illness and mental health is not a life sentence, not a death sentence. We can still live a whole and generative life. So despite all that you heard so far, the best news that I can have for you to share is that there is hope for people living with mental health conditions. Every year, people overcome their challenges and are able to resume their life and their path and their work and their school and relationships. Everyone responds differently. And I think that's really important to mention again. Everyone responds differently to various treatment options and mental health challenges. But for about 75% of people with depression, schizophrenia, anxiety, those conditions, and bipolar disorder, treatment works to help alleviate the symptoms and encourage wellness and wholeness. And like Pastor Bill said, wholeness, not holiness, but the wholeness. Treatment is very personal as well, and choices are many, including healthcare for integrated care, and a referral to a good evaluation, talk therapy, pastoral counseling, medication, supportive services, groups, support groups. A lot of times people have Bible studies and also incorporate, the mental health piece into it. Groups like the Blue Earth Neighborhood Center, like we have with Dr. Cartman, and the Men and Wellness. And so things like that can be really helpful if we are not able to seek a professional, but support groups are an option as well. Other things that can help is, of course, eating healthy and having a healthy lifestyle. So if you're using substances or smoking cigarettes or something like that, that really intensifies your symptoms and make them worse. And of course, faith communities have a role to play, right? Mental illness can, and for some, cause feelings of spiritual isolation and estrangement. I think that this is really important because I'm a Christian, and so I grew up with Southern Baptist, and the notion of just pray it away, to go away. We're going to take you to the altar. We're going to put holy oil on you. Yes, so all those things are great. Yes, they work. However, if you are engaged in these practices and you're still having these symptoms that you really haven't addressed, you may be wondering like, oh, I don't really feel like I'm a good Christian, or God's answering my prayers, or I'm praying hard enough. And it could cause feelings of spiritual isolation and detachment from your religion or your spiritual life. Some people in their families get caught in a turmoil of often surrounding mental illness, and they can feel lonely because they're not connected to their community or connected to their spirituality or their faith. But community can help, and a spiritual community for many is a life changer and a lifeline. Look at the slide. Every year, people who struggle with a mental health condition overcomes challenges to do the things they enjoy. Recovery and wellness are sometimes seen over time and involve a variety of factors, including self-learning, again, peer supports, work, school, finding the right supports. And I think I should say that again, finding the right supports for them in treatment, and for many, their faith and a strong faith community. Next slide, please. So spiritual questions may include, again, where is God in this? Why do bad things happen to good people? What have we done wrong? How can we find help? And so and just by a show of virtual hands, right? How many times have you heard this or said this? And you don't have to really share, but just take a minute to kind of reflect on some of the past experiences when you wasn't feeling your best, or you was going through a challenge that you may have said these things. All right, so just as in the case of serious health conditions like asthma, heart disease, diabetes, those things, having a mental health condition and illness may pose a challenge to your faith as well. It may allow you not to be able to come to worship, and then it may not allow you to connect with other people within the community of your faith. You may have opposing personality clashes or conflicts with other people within your congregation. And so those are just a list of things, right? And I'm pretty sure if you could reflect back on some interactions you may have with some people within your faith community, and they were just a little off that day, and you're like, oh, that's not like Sister Mary. She didn't say anything to me. Or, Pastor Jenkins may be going through something because he is just really, really in a strange mood. And so those are examples of how our mental health can pose a challenge to our faith. In the midst of this turmoil, where do you belong? And you may feel like, I'm not connected to my faith. I'm feeling like I'm not close to God. What is wrong with me? I can't get it together. I can't shake out of this. For some, a mental illness can test our faith, and it may actually challenge us to maybe disconnect from God or give up on God. One of the common things around maybe if there's grief and you lose a loved one who was a really great person, and it was their time to leave or something like that, you may say, where's God in this? God wouldn't condone that. And they may kind of, just reconsider what their faith is, and maybe they're just really going through grief and really need to just grieve and process that depression, that grief. But even though for some, a mental illness can test our faith and maybe profoundly affect how our spiritual journeys are connected, and sometimes positively and negatively, right? After the basics and the basic physical and medical needs of a person are met, There are often a deeper level of spiritual support that's needed and care that may get overlooked. So the gift of presence requires presence and mindfulness, requires that we avoid doing for them what they can do for themselves, giving advice or pushing our own agenda on them. I know sometimes it may be in our spirits to talk to Sister Mary about what's going on, but sometimes we may push people away more or make them feel ashamed of what's going on. So I think it's really important to mention that we should listen more instead of sharing our journeys. And some people just need that opening ear. And so as we listen and they share their journey with us, we have to be honest and ask the questions to ourselves. Can we help them? What is the goal of this? What can I do to make this better for them? Where to direct them? But because of the fear and the stereotypes often associated with the stigma of mental illness, people and their families often feel caught in this battle of turmoil and loneliness. And most people exchange themselves from the members in the community and the communities. They feel like if they have this condition or somebody in their family is struggling with this condition, it must be the devil. It must be them doing something wrong, when it's really not. And that's why it's super important to be sharing this information with the faith-based community, because I think it's important to know that our faith-based communities share a unique position to help. And I think it's important as we recognize the signs and understand what's really going on and decrease stigma, instead of our church members and our community partners and members pushing themselves away because of shame. It'll be a place and a mecca of help and hope. Next slide, please. So again, to really bring home the topic of what can faith-based communities do, and they have a role. It's really important that we look at some of the factors that give faith-based communities and organizations that edge and opportunity to be a supportive place for help and hope. So for an example, many people turn to their faith communities when they are in a crisis or need help or healing. Churches, temples, and other faith communities are often more available, noticeable, and accessible, especially within the African American Black communities. This is where we find a lot of things. We find empowerment, we find family, we find hope and healing. And so I think it's really important to notice that mental illness and mental health is within these two. And so if we are equipped and our churches and faith organizations are abreast on the knowledge of what mental illness and mental health is, we can continue to be those safe spaces for our people in the community. Next slide, please. And so again, breaking down the stigma around mental health and mental illness, and especially within our communities and faith-based organizations. So the good news is that NAMI, the National Alliance of Mental Illness, is a resource and a partner that we at the Blue Door Neighborhood Center partner with to bring resources and help and hope within our communities and the people who work within our faith-based organizations. So as part of that efforts to help build our mental health movement, they've launched a campaign called Stigma Free. And stigma, if you never know, stigma is the number one reason people with mental health conditions do not get help. And I'm going to repeat that again. Stigma, which is like shame, guilt, all those things too, is one of the number one reasons people with mental health conditions do not get help. So what is stigma? Stigma is putting a negative label on a group of people that leads an inaccurate to beliefs. It can make people feel really, really isolated and alone, and it leads to stereotype and prejudice, and ultimately extermination. And a lot of the times, people who may be struggling with mental health concerns within our communities get pushed out of our faith-based communities and churches because of stigma and the guilt and the shame they feel around not being holy enough or not being religious enough or connected to their faith. So some of the things that we can do to break the barriers of stigma is attending things like this tonight, right? And presenting mental health and what it is within our faith-based communities. And so learning about mental health, seeing the person and not the condition, and to take action, and to know where to send people and take the action in an appropriate way that won't bring more harm, but empower people to become well and whole. Next slide, please. Next slide, going to skip past that one. So again, in addition to being mindful about our own judgments and jump to conclusions that may be hurtful, we can learn about simple words that can be used that are helpful. So here are some examples. Instead of saying, she is bipolar, she having a bipolar episode, she's crazy, or he is schizophrenic, or he's crazy, we can say she has a bipolar disorder, he lives with schizophrenia, she may be struggling with a mental health concern. So putting these people first, putting the people first helps them to feel like the person and not like a disorder or something's wrong with them. Again, mental health is normal. We all have mental health, but it varies on spectrums. And so instead of saying they're mentally ill, we can say someone who lives with a mental concern or struggle. So this way the person senses and believes and has hope that they can get better, and that there is hope out there, that they won't struggle with this alone or feel like it's a death sentence. Also, another way to address some language around mental health is referring to things like suicide, right? Not commit suicide, but we want to say die by suicide or end their life or take their own life. A lot of times within our faith-based communities, we look at suicide as a crime or a sin. And so instilling those hope, we may be able to save someone's life and show them that they're important and recognize that there is hope and they're not alone. And for the families and loved ones who survive tragic loss around someone who took their life or died by suicide, it acknowledges that the loss was lost respectfully, considering we can't change people's actions. People make their own choices. But again, it goes to show you that mental health does not only affect the person, but it affects the people around us. So again, in conclusion with that, just avoiding the labels around mental health and how we address and how we explain mental health and conditions around mental health is key. It can really draw someone away in your community, in your congregation, or it can draw someone in to feel like, oh, he gets me, or she gets me, or Sister Mary understands me. I don't feel like I have a I don't feel like I'm, alone, or I should not be here, or feel like I shouldn't belong here. Next slide, please. So if you have someone in your family maybe who may be struggling with a mental health concern, or just in your church in general, this is something that you can do to help, kind of address or notice that something's going on or what's wrong. And so on an individual or family level, you can ease into the conversation gradually. It may be that the person is not in a place to talk, and that's okay. Greeting them and extending a gentle kindness can go a long way. Sometimes less is more. So even just saying, hey, Miss Mary, how are you doing today? I noticed, your bubbly, loving self. Is everything okay? Is there anything I can do? Offer your support, like again, and connect them to help if you feel that they may need help. Ask, how can I help, right? Not try to give them, oh, you need to do this, you should do this, and sitting there is not going to help you, and X, Y, and Z, but asking them how they can help, if it's appropriate. Even say, well, can I pray for you now? Or you want to take in one of your rooms in the corner, and pray about it and see what we can do. And, if there's someone in the community that we can talk to or set up counseling with. Another easy step to take is to reach out to an individual or their family, of course. And it's good to ask for permission first. A lot of times we don't ask for permission, and it feels overbearing for some people. And they may say, oh my God, I'm already feeling good. I'm struggling with this. And Miss Mary is just really digging and poking and just being nosy. And so that can come off that way. So I think it's really important to ask for permission. Everyone is different and their timing is different too. And those are some ways that you can reach out. So if you can take about 5 or 10 seconds to really think about some situations you may have, even at church or home or your employment, that you've noticed someone was struggling. How did you approach them? What are some things that you say to them? And I hope that, by looking at this slide and presenting this information, you get a different perspective of how to approach someone who may be struggling with a mental health concern. So in addition to reaching out, we can look at how to first take steps to make sure our faith-based communities are welcoming within this. So here are some different steps in the slide. If you can't see the slide, I'm going to read a couple. And it says, again, check in with the person or their family. Ask them what would be the most helpful. Offer to pray with them and for them. Offer a place to belong, a small spiritual support group, fellowship group. Offer to cook a meal, run an errand, or any other helpful task. I know back home in Mississippi is where I'm from. I know our pastor would go around and do home visits, and so maybe that's something that you still include in a safe way here. Learn about mental health. I think education and knowledge is important and is key. And then convey a message of acceptance and compassion. And I can't really say that enough. Convey a message of acceptance and compassion. Compassion goes a long way, and acceptance goes a long way. We may not agree with some things. We may be kind of clueless on some things or not understand some things, but having an open mind and acceptance and compassion goes a long way. Next slide, please. So what can TNT do to better support their congregation members and the people within their communities, right? So this presentation is a step toward the foot in the right direction. But just start the discussion. A lot of the times we're afraid to have the open conversations of, this is what's happening, this is going on, this is a real concern, and being open about what's really addressing the elephant in the room. And so some tips are refer to mental health during sermons and in small groups. Within weekend services, pray for people who are living with mental health conditions and their families. Maybe during the altar call, praying, calling people who need prayer for mental health concerns, or doing opening service prayer, praying for people who may have mental health concerns. Give your congregation a survey and ask them questions related to mental health. Provide a referral list of mental health resources available in the community, like NAMI. Chicago, and then having those things accessible and ready, maybe with the front of the church or on the website or on menus and programs. Educate and raise awareness in your congregation by inviting mental health professionals like I, thank you, family members and individuals to speak about their mental health. Let's see, provide a space for support groups and people in your community and mental health professionals to come in and have support groups. Let's see, befriend someone who's living with a mental health condition, and be their support. Provide a support and hope and healing for them. Maybe they just need to get out of the house a little more. Maybe they need to a cup of coffee or a smile sometimes can really help as well. So I've shared some easy, simple ways for us to think about. Some other faith communities have also embraced this effort as well. I know Nomni has been presenting this presentation and challenging mental health professionals and training mental health professionals to share this with faith-based communities since like 2017, I believe. And so one is an example of a church in Saddleback. It's a Saddleback church in Orange County, California. And so some of the things that they have done and within their communities to kind of highlight mental health is they begin support groups and support people who live and experience mental health conditions. They go out and they minister, and they all go out and do outreach around their community around how they can support their members who may be facing mental health. And finally, they do like surveys, like one of the things said, and investigate how those changes are impacting their members and what are some other things that they may need. I think the biggest takeaway from this is mental health is a journey, and it's not a race. And so I think the small steps toward a positive change is the best, because sometimes we kind of skip the small things to go straight to the gusto of wanting to heal people, when sometimes we just need to provide the open space for people to feel safe and to know that they have support and that they're not alone and God is still with them even though they have a mental health concern or condition. Next slide, please. Keep going, keep going. Keep going, keep going. All right here. And so just in a conclusion of everything that I have talked about today is we don't have to have all the answers, and we don't have to have it all figured out. The idea is that we have tools, resources, and support to kind of help us within our faith-based organizations and groups. And so one of the things that we can do, especially with our faith-based churches and communities, is to visit NAMI. Again, one of our partners here at the Blue Door Neighborhood Center that support faith-based organizations and give them tools and resources for encouragement, empowerment, and where to seek help and how to seek help. And last slide, please. And the final conclusion is there is hope and there is healing and there is help, right? And I think it's really important to mention that it's time for us to stand up together, take a stand, make a difference together, and we can tackle mental health and make it a priority within our communities, because mental health is real. You've seen it in the news. We've seen Will Smith, great. We have seen Miss America. We have seen our family members. We have seen our congregation members struggle with mental health concerns. And if our churches and our Mecca and our hubs can be a place where they can come and feel like they have support and they have a place they can come, I think that's the first step to making a better, making our communities better and whole. So now I'm going to open up the floor for questions. I would say too that please share only what you would like to share. And I'm going to close my screen down so I can see. And if Pastor Bill and Brother Johnson can help me answer questions and see what's on the chat, that'd be really great.
All right, you've got one question in the chat there on the
Okay.
screen there. I don't know if you can see it. If not, I'll read it out loud to you.
I think I see it. If a person does not believe they have a mental health problem, but you see serious changes, how are you going to implement any of this? Okay, that's a great question. So if a person does not believe they have a problem, you can't force anyone to do anything, right? But you can always consider them and approach them in a compassionate way. And sometimes silence is the best. Sometimes just knowing that a person may be struggling is beneficial to help you and the family in general, or the congregation. And maybe even just saying that, hey, I'm here if you need help for anything. Just opening that door for that conversation, and knowing that if maybe one day it clicks for them and say, oh, I may be struggling with something, they'll have somewhere comfortable to go to and a support. I hope that was helpful. Okay.
Well, I've got a quick question here.
Yeah, for sure.
What is in your context and working there in the Morgan Park neighborhood, the community particularly, and working, with our people, can, even though we're talking about the stigma, and I like how we posted that, you framed that for us earlier about breaking the stigma. Can you kind of talk about what your experience and encounter has been with people actually breaking through the stigma, or even maybe kind of into that question that was just asked? Dealing with people who may have come in to say, oh, I really didn't know I needed help, but I'm glad that, I finally came into, can you kind of speak to that? Maybe have you encountered some people like that? What that experience has been like?
Yeah, absolutely. So, being that the Blue Neighborhood Center is a free center that offers resources to the community for free, and you don't have to have Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance to come in. It's a community-based center.
All right, very good.
We do have people who come in who maybe struggle with mental health concerns, and we basically provide them with a hub of resources to where if they don't have insurance, we direct them to places where they can maybe receive free services, or partner with NAMI and people within the community with NAMI. Also, we have classes and HE class, health education classes around ways to cope with stress, mindful breathing. We have classes around addiction, and also just classes on whole wellness and health and nutrition, right? Holistically. And so within the community, we have done a lot of outreach, and that's one of the things that we do. And so I'm trying to answer the question that you asked, and there was a little feedback because I'm on platforms, and so I'm getting the question correctly. But yeah, we are a hub of resources, and that's basically what we do. Is we try to connect the community with resources and places they can go to receive help. Did that answer your question, Pastor Bill?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, that is the reason why you were here tonight. So I'm glad you reached out to me to ask for this space and place, and just to let you know, so that and you can spread the word. That APC Morgan Park is a safe space.
Yes.
We are a place where we do emphasize and magnify the need for us to be, again, holy, healthy
Yes.
human beings. That's what God has given us, the missive according to the word. The writer John writes and says, "Beloved, I wish, above all things, that you would prosper and be healthy, but prosper also as your soul." That word soul is psyche. That word soul is literally, when the Bible talks about heart, it means mind. It's interchangeable. So that's great to know that we're here. And even this, that was why you were talking earlier. The word of the Lord again comes to tell us. And I'm glad you magnified the need for community and for spiritual upliftment. But through the prophet Isaiah, God said that he would keep those in perfect peace because their minds are steady and stayed or focused on God. So, Ashley, if you just leave us with, closing remarks and just, again, encourage the people, let them know where they can contact you or where they can find Blue Door, where they can go.
Yes, absolutely. And so, little delay. But absolutely, thank you for tying that in and making that really hit home, because mental health is real. We all struggle with mental health. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, 10, 50, 25, but there is support. And I think the biggest piece is there is hope and there's healing, and you do not have to struggle alone. And our churches and our faith-based communities can be a hub of support. And the Blue Door Neighborhood Center, Morgan Park, Pullman, and South Londell can be a place where you can gain tools and skills to how to manage your mental health and include those skills within your faith as well. You can check us out on Facebook. Our Facebook handle is Blue Door Center IL, and that's at Blue Door Center IL. You can check out our website as well at bluedoorcenteril.com. And that's bluedoorcenteril.com. And we have a host of videos in our video repository where there's self-guided meditations, recorded meditations. Not only is your mental health just knowledge, but what we put into our bodies actually helps us too. So nutrition is very important. And so there's cooking demos, there's fitness demos. Also, you can check out our monthly calendar where you get to see all the classes that we present to the community, again, for free. You do not have to Blue Cross and Blue Shield to have access to these things. It's open to everyone in the community. I am one of the health educators at the Blue Door Neighborhood Center in Morgan Park. So I would love to see you. You can drop in. Our center is open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. We have a hybrid method as well. So if you see some classes on our calendar that you would like to come to and you're not able to make it there physically, you can join us online. We have special programmings all the time. So please stay abreast to our social media handle. And then, for example, tomorrow, like our health and our temple is really important. We have a colorectal screening kickoff happening at 5 o'clock at our Morgan Park location. It's free. And we're going to be bringing awareness to colorectal screening and kicking it off for next month.
Good. How about that? See there?
There you go.
Blue Door is here to help. We're grateful. Shout out to Miss Ashley Lewis for coming to us tonight. Shout out to Miss Tara Keisha who has connected us and make sure that we stay informed with what is happening in our neighborhood, in our community. Miss Ashley, again, listen, our Blue Door's door is open, but APC's door is open to you.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, look at there. Oh, there we go. We've got Miss Tara Keisha.
Is she on there? Yes. Woo!
If you come tomorrow, they are having dinner and you can get a gift card. Let me check my schedule. Hold on. I think I might have to move some things around. Because Miss Ashley, you might not be at that age, but some of us have reached that age. Amen. We've reached that age.
I would love to have you there, and I will greet you personally and welcome you.
All right, at the Morgan Park location.
Yes.
All right, want you all to come out. Anybody that's watching,
5 p.m.
Spread the word, share the word, let everybody know. We want to make sure you are being protected. Make sure you are being covered. And I want you to do this. Listen, Miss Ashley gave us NAMI.com, right? I believe we posted that. Somebody, I believe APC, somebody posted that. NAMI, is it .org or .com?
.org.
Okay, that's right. There you go. NAMI.org.
I'll put it in the chat for you.
All right. There you go. It's in the chat. And I was on another session this week. I'm going to I'm going to drop these names for you. I want you all that are watching to type this in the comments. And Miss Ashley, if you've heard of these, then you can give a thumbs up because you know that these are reputable sites to attend. But if you need help, people of God, BlackTherapistRock.com. All right, I'm looking at that. Type that in the chat. Black Therapists. It's plural. It's got an S on the end. BlackTherapistsRock.com. All right. This was a session I was in on Saturday. And the question was asked, how do we offer trauma-informed caring strategies during a crisis? And these were some websites that were listed to offer assistance. So again, one, blacktherapists.com. There is also Therapy for Black Girls.com. I don't know if you've all heard of that, but that's one that's there. Therapyforblackgirls.com. I want you to type that in the comments. Somebody type that in the chat. And then equivalent, there's also therapyforblackmen.com. All right. Once again, blacktherapistsrock.com. Therapyforblackgirls.com. And therapyforblackmen.com. There's some others, but those are just the ones we're going to use for tonight. All right. Along with Blue Door, along with NAMI, along with APC Morgan Park, God has sent hope and help. Thank you again, Miss Ashley. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to remove you so you can get on with the rest of your evening. We'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully, I'm going to try to get by there. If I don't make it, somebody from APC, y'all go see Miss Ashley tomorrow at 5 p.m. and tell her you enjoyed her last night.
We'd love to have you.
Go see her at 5 p.m. for the.
Thank you all so much.
It's a colorectal screening.
Mm-hmm.
Colorectal screening
kicked off.
Colorectal screening kickoff at the Morgan Park Blue Door Center on tomorrow. Thank you, Miss Ashley. All right, APC. We're getting ready to get out of here. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Listen, if you would, sow $17. There are 5 ways to give. 5 ways to give. Sow $17 tonight. Be so kind to be a blessing to the church, be a blessing to the ministry. We are committed to help make disciples of Jesus Christ who give to God's cause, to serve God's community, and to love God's creation. That is the mission of this church. It is our vision to be a community of productive citizens demonstrating God's love. That's our vision. We want to be holy and healthy. The Bible says holiness, without which no man shall see the Lord. So we want to be both holy, that is sanctified, and we want to be whole, because that is what God promised that we can have. All right, APC family, listen, I love you. Let's get ready to get out of here. Thank you for tarrying on tonight. Thank you for tarrying. Thank you for staying around a little later than usual on tonight. Had a little delay in the start. But God bless you. I believe somebody is going to get help tonight. Text somebody those links to get some help. BlackTherapistRock.com. BlackTherapistRock.com. Therapyforblackgirls.com. Therapyforblackmen.com. And if the therapist don't answer, call on Jesus. Jesus will answer prayer. Declare victory in your mind. And then do the work, beloved. Declare victory and do the work. Divine providence will not manifest without human cooperation. God has divine healing available for you. And God has sent those to help you on your journey to healing. I'm Bill Ellis. I love everybody. I'm here to help you to be saved, healed, delivered, and set free. Type in the comments, victory in my mind. Type in the comments, victory in my mind. Type it in the comments. Type it in the comments. Let me see you. Those of y'all that are still here, we getting out of here. Type in the comments, victory in my mind. Victory in my mind. Come on, make that declaration and make that decree. I see you. Type it in there and say it. Sow your $17 victory offering. Hey! I see you, Sister Mabel. Victory in your mind. That's it. Come on. Make that declaration. All right, APC family, we getting ready to go for real, y'all. But come on, lift your voice and sing it one more time. Come on and say it. You know you got it. Come on. Say it, everybody. My God is big. So strong. I'll see you on.